Residential report writing and case studies, Chapter 3, appraisal report, page 34. Chapter 3, quiz continued. I accidentally turned it off. Picking up on number 10. An appraiser is engaged by an appraisal management company, AMC, who is acting as an agent of the lender. The AMC requests that the appraiser put the lender's name on the appraisal report as the client. Which statement is true about this situation? A, the AMC is the client. B, the lender and AMC are joint clients. C, the lender is the client. Or D, the appraiser should proceed as if there were no client for this assignment. I'm going to go C, the lender is the client. Number 11, Eduardo completes an appraisal for a mortgage lender. 1 month later, a different lender calls and tells Eduardo that she has a copy of the report. She asks him to add her name onto the report as an intended user. What can Eduardo do under USPAP? A, he is not permitted to retroactively add intended users. B, he may add the new intended user because the new lender asked him to. C, he may add the new intended user only if the original client approves. Or D, USPAP does not address this situation. I'm going to go A. Number 12. What is an acceptable format for communicating an appraisal report? A, Fannie Mae 1004 form. B, Fannie Mae 2055 form. C, narrative format. Or D, any of these answers. I'm going to go D. And lastly, number 13. In appraisals for federally regulated lending institutions, the source of the market value definition commonly used by appraisers is A, USPAP. B, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. C, FIRREA. Or D, individual state appraisal boards. It's either A or C. I'm going to go A. Assessment completed. Finish. Fuck, I knew it. I failed. You got a 69.2%. So remember, number 1, the certification statement used in a written real property appraisal report must be similar in content to USPAP standards rule. Go figure, you said B 2-3, and that was correct. Number 2, in a real life appraisal practice, which written report option is most commonly used? You said appraisal report, and that was correct. Number 3, which term best describes the Fannie Mae 1004 URAR form? You said a container for a report, and that was correct. Good job. Number 4, what is the use paper requirement for disclosing the report option used in a written report? You said C, the statement must appear in the certification, and that was wrong. The answer was B, prominently state which option is used. I knew it was either one of them two. I knew that for a fact. Standards Rule 2-2 states that the report must prominently state which reporting option is used. That is the first minimum content requirement set forth for written appraisal reports. Chapter 3, Appraisal Report. Number 5, an appraiser is preparing an appraisal with an effective date of July 3rd. The report is dated July 5th. This would most likely be you said C, current appraisal. And that was correct. Number 6, for an appraisal for a Fannie Mae lender, the effective date of the appraisal is the date you said A, the property was inspected. And that was correct. Number 7, a sentence in an appraisal report that indicates the subject property is currently under agreement for $550,000 would be considered blank. You said a summary, and that was incorrect. The correct answer was A, statement. That was my second choice. A statement such as the subject property is currently under agreement for $350,000 is not a summary. It is a statement. Chapter 3, Analysis of Contracts and Prior Sales. Number 8, when is it inappropriate for an appraiser to provide a restricted appraisal report? You said D, when the intended use requires a high level of detail in the report. And that was correct. Number 9, which statement is false regarding disclosure of a scope of work in the appraisal report? You said D, it may consist of small summaries located in various places throughout the report, and that was incorrect. The correct answer was A, it must appear in a specific section of the report labeled Scope of Work. It is not required that each report contain a specific section of the report labeled Scope of Work, wherein the appraiser summarizes the appraisal process performed, as well as those steps in the appraisal process which were not performed. Nevertheless, many appraisers choose to do this. Chapter 3, Scope of Work. Number 10, an appraiser is engaged by an appraiser management company, AMC, who is acting as an agent of the lender. The AMC requests that the appraiser put the lender's name on the appraisal report as the client. Which statement is true about this situation? You said C, the lender is the client, and that is correct. Number 11, Eduardo completes an appraisal for a mortgage lender. 1 month later, a different lender calls and tells Eduardo that she has a copy of the report. She asks him to add her name onto the report as an intended user. What can Eduardo do under USPAP? You said A, he is not permitted to retroactively add intended users, and that is correct. Number 12. What is an acceptable format for communicating an appraisal report? You said any of these answers in regards to the Fannie Mae 1004 form, Fannie Mae 2055 form, and the narrative format. And that was correct. And lastly, number 13. In appraisals for fairly regulated lending institutions, the source of the market value definition commonly used by appraisers is, you said, USPAP, and that was incorrect. The correct answer was FIRREA, your second option. Title 11 of FIRREA also led the federal regulatory agencies to develop a market value definition to be used in the market value appraisal of real property for a federally regulated institution. Chapter 3, FIRREA, Market Value Definition. End of page.